It's Scarf Bonsai here today. Gonna try to go to the city area, but in this case with the Nikon AW1, it's raining. I have the 10mm, I have 2.8, which should be nice focal length for that stuff. Two action cameras going, one on the side of it, one on the bottom, attached to the Nikon one. I have the camera in program mode, ISO to 800, automatic. I don't really need to cover myself too much with this because I have all waterproof equipment, but the lenses easily get water on them. This specific lens hood is the official Nikon one. I was lucky to find one and it was actually discounted, which was nice. It's the HN-N103, fits perfectly on this camera. It doesn't provide a ton of blocking the water, which I had to keep wiping this off, but in this case I'm also using a lens filter between there. Now this specific lens has a nice cover on the front, which I'm sure it's got some waterproofing and stuff, but in this case, with this lens filter, it's just an added buffer, and I don't really care too much for, you know, it might change the photos a little bit, but it does have a coating on it. Not too concerned. It just helps me make things more convenient and easy to deal with, you know, constantly taking a rag or something, or a microfiber cloth actually, and wiping it down. But that worked nicely. And I'm sure it did block a little bit here and there. This camera with the f2.8 10mm, I think that's the best option for any of that stuff because you do get a little bit of larger aperture compared to the kit lens. That's 11 to 27mm with the 3.5 to 5.6, I believe. So it's definitely a better option. It was challenging to find this lens, and just finding this camera in general is probably not going to be easy. So I'm talking about this camera, but you won't necessarily be able to find one. Sorry about that. It's simple enough, but it does have full functionality with manual control. If you want to do that, you can do selectable focus points. I have this little lens hood. I have a filter now, but it's not that long. So even in these situations, it might help a little bit, but it's not gonna do a ton. I've taken photos of this before, but other side. I should probably go in there someday. Here's America. Taken photos of this before, but different camera. It's a nice little design. It's honestly a pretty nice combination. Not amazing for trying to juggle 3 cameras in a video, but so far so good. I am definitely getting water on the lens still. So I could have done this without the umbrella, but trying to do that with video and having the GoPro and Osmo Action fully out there with water around, very quickly the lenses would get water on them. Why are there no people around? Well, try to avoid them, honestly. There's a few people here and there, but not in a situation where you want to go up in their faces. There we go, nice portrait. You want portraits? Maybe I'll come back here and do portraits. Louis is a little bit larger than a normal human. My main goal with this photo walk was just to try to get some photos out of it that weren't terrible. That was challenging with the rain, but also especially with the wind. Tried to hold my umbrella steady with the wind while trying to take photos at the same time. This camera got out of the way, just worked well. I was using program mode with selectable focus point, which probably limited me more than anything. I probably should have had let the camera take the decisions on autofocus as well. A lot of the time, it probably would have resulted in better photos, but I did do selectable point focus, and occasionally I would switch it up and move the focal point. I'm going to crop these photos. I'm going to be editing them a little bit here and there as well, just to get something out of them, which is nice because this camera does RAW. It's basic in many ways, but still has full manual control, has those NEF RAWs, and there is a profile in my specific software, the ACDC, for this lens, which does help it a little bit, but I don't think it's totally necessary. This lens is relatively decent as is. I think this camera could be nice for doing any type of street photos if you can find one, especially the lens is challenging to find. Of course, I've got this 2-tone look to it. I would have preferred to have the black camera, which I had said in the previous video. The white is very noticeable. I don't know. It's just something to consider if you do this type of street stuff. There aren't many people around. You'd have to really get in their face to take some photos of them. Not something I'm interested in, honestly. But definitely, I think this would be a good camera for that because you get relatively quick autofocus, especially for the time. Maybe not so much now compared to current stuff, but still decent. It has fully silent shutter, which, I mean, depending if you're doing candids or whatever, you just want no sound to happen, this does that. the challenge when it is completely silent. I have no way of knowing when the photo is being taken because the lens itself is pretty quiet as well. Got the ice hockey. Oh, that does look pretty cool right there. Anyways, if my batteries run out, I'm gonna say, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice fun experience with the AW1 from Nikon. Of course, it's more difficult to find these days, but if you can find one, I think it might be a decent camera for this type of stuff.